only half of the players today will make it into day 2. They'll get halved every time. Day 3 as well, only 8. And we're ready. And it's going to be, well, we still see Balotelli, we still see Chuso, but now we see, as you mentioned, Odesza coming into the mix and Emperador as well. 2 more Spanish players alongside some German players that you can be biased for, like gluteus maximus.
Gluteus is actually such a good German player. He has won the first German championship and the second German championship, allowing him to participate in this tournament. So I'm really, really excited to see where he goes. And then, of course, we have to talk about Deisik, one of the most known players, the first player in EU West to actually hit that 2K mark on Challenger. So really, really a lobby that should be super exciting. I'm so happy to see these players come out. We, of course, already had the first carousel, and we'll see what kind of early comps players will be running here. Now, my favorite question to ask, Panda, is there a comp that you would like to see?
Well, you know my answer. 2 months ago, it was Italy, and now since that hole in my heart was formed after her nerfs, nothing has been able to fill it. So I'm sorry, Megs, but there is no answer to that question.
Have you tried, and I will say that in not the tournament and competitive realm, as he shows up in the shop, have you tried Kane reroll, Panda?
I haven't, but maybe I'll. Maybe
It might be your thing.
Maybe I'll try it out.
It's not super great, but it's definitely very fun. So if you like Italy, maybe this is for you. But yeah, players are setting up right now, trying to see where they go, what components they get from the first PvE rounds as they come in. And soon enough, there will be an augment. Silas being hit here by Aki. I'm always happy to see a 3-cost bruiser come in that early, should sustain a little bit. And here comes the augments.
Titanic strength, extra attack damage. Aki, of course, known as one of the best AD players in EMEA after his performance in set 6 with challengers, one of the best challengers players all throughout set 6. Set 7 hasn't quite found that same success when it comes to tournaments. He was just a beast in GSCs in set 6, but is maybe trying to change that coming to the Superbrawl in this game number 2. We saw the top there, Mirage will be Warlord's Honor, and it will be the dummies helping out the front line here, helping out the Yone to help survive. That's definitely not Emperador. I'm a bit of an expert on Spanish players, and I definitely
looks different in this one. And no, of course, that's Deisik that we are seeing in the camera. Probably a little mishap on the player cam feeds. However, very excited to see that we are getting a player camera here in this lobby. Always one of my favorite things to see, as Emperador and Aki face it off in the first round. We already have that Mogul's Mail set 2-star on the side of Emperador, and that is just such a strong unit in the early game.
It seems to be showing that, game 1, we saw 2 players utilizing Set as their damage carry and just their carry overall throughout stage 2 to try and have a smooth and healthy, start for the game. And it seems to be the case here for Emperador as well. A player that has been maybe the most, or one of the most consistent Spanish players in tournaments and on ladder as well, currently in top 10, I believe, or top 20 for sure right now in the current rank ladder. But we're talking about ladder. You mentioned Deisik. I mean, the king of the ladder throughout this entire set. He's been the most consistent and the most dominant throughout, really. I mean, just no comparison to any other players.
Oh, you are absolutely right, but augments are coming in, and that's always something I love talking about. We see the metabolic accelerator being picked up by Gluteus. Very, very, very popular augment that is coming in here. Also, the gadget expert by Xuso, giving him a little bit of an extra damage amp in the early stages with that statics and the additional damage being done. And then Emperador, we did see him on the Mogul's Mail just now, definitely has that extra item with the shimmer scales now. But that also means ideally he would want to keep on going with the shimmer scales throughout this entire game.
I have to say, Makes, props to you on that pronunciation for Emperador. Very good.
I am trying so hard.
For anyone that wants to know a little trick, a little Spanish, Emperador means emperor in Spanish. I know it's a hard one to figure out, but
it's so hard.
I'm here to help.
Thank you. Maybe we'll come back to you when it comes to the other Spanish players. Of course, Odesza also in this lobby here, currently taking a little bit of a loss together with Aki down there, but nothing to worry about. It's the early stages. Ideally, you want to go a little bit on the loss streak here to get some economy, and I'm generally not worried about players until they hit that magic 50 HP mark, and then it's kind of like, do they keep falling, or can they turn it around? Odesza here on, of course, the Orange Forge did find, and I want to say Spirit Visage. I think it's called different though.
Anima Visage, but you know,
see, that's
you had the right spirit there for the item.
A Visage.
We'll see if this Leona is going to become a 2-star, though. That's the biggest thing here, to make the best use out of this item, to make sure she can tank and not just get bursted down before all the sustain can come into effect, as we're seeing maybe here, facing off against this Aatrox that is going to be itemized, has a Mogul's Will, has a Sunfire Cape, cutting on that healing a little bit as well, and that will be a win for Deisik here. Odesza going to take a bit of a hit. Not too big of a loss, though, just yet. We don't see any player that's kind of free-falling like we saw with Royce in the last game. I think it's going to be maybe a more stable lobby. Also, no Tiny Titans, so the disparity between HP is not quite as it was in Game 1.
For now, and it's still very much up to change, but we are hopping around trying to see what players are running. I did see Nomzi with 2 trainers being there. I'm not sure whose board this was, but that's definitely a board I would like to see again. Did you catch the name?
I did not. I actually, okay. I just quickly saw, and I thought I saw a Siphon, but maybe, I hope I'm mistaken. I hope it wasn't a Siphon that we actually saw there.
That would have been very scary. I don't think I've ever seen a Siphon on 2-4, but there was definitely a trainer moment with a Lulu, so maybe we can look at that. I'm not sure if it was Balotelli by chance, but we'll try and find the board. There it is. Yeah, Balotelli with the trainers being put in already, finds the 3 trainer, buffs up that little Nomzi frog, and
Odesza
also has that IE going.
Odesza picked up Tristana 2. It's a big pickup, especially considering that maybe he was going for more of a loss streak start in stage 2. He got only a gold start, as we heard from production, throughout the early creep rounds, which means that you're incentivized to say, hey, I only have 2 item components. I'm going to try losing for a bit first, guarantee my gold generation by losing instead of winning, and then trying to go and roll down a 6 and find those upgrades. But already found Tristana 2. Maybe that stabilizes him. We're going to see now Balotelli versus Emperador. Emperador with the Mogul's Mail. Hand of Justice on this set. We saw it pop off in Game 1. Will it also pop off in Game 2, Migs? What do you think?
Popping off right now is definitely that Nomzi breath as it comes down, but the Aatrox will take it out. I don't know. Will we see it pop off? I think Mogul's Mail is a very, very strong Shimmer Scale item, similar to the Diamond Hands. Always something I look forward to when I see a Shimmer Scale in any of the lobbies. The Thrill of the Hunt couldn't save Balotelli here as he was trying to get a win, but let's check in, as you said, with Odesza, because I want to see the board with the Tristana too and see how that's looking.
That was the Leona board, actually. So yeah, still Leona. Well, never mind. Has the 2 Leonas on the board instead. So really just trying to econ here. Trying to play kind of a weird board. Only Guardian, the trait being active. A damage carry without items being slammed yet, because he's trying to, again, loss streak all throughout this stage. So I'm happy to see it that, what we mentioned, he had the gold start, only had a few item components. Instead, wanted to try and go for a loss streak and try and get as much econ going into Krugs as possible without losing too much HP. 78 HP, as long as it's not a big loss, is not the worst place to be, actually.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but we keep facing Emperador with his set board. It's just so interesting seeing that come out here. Will take another loss for Odesza, just exactly what he wanted. And then maybe let's hop on over to Electro, because I'm not sure we looked at that board yet.
The Turkish player, we had Turkey 1 and 2 in Game 1. Will it be a repeat in this game? If so, Electro has to kind of turn it up a little bit more, because he is currently on the bottom side of the standings. Takes a win here, stabilizes, but look at the win streak and loss streak here. Not ideal for stage 2. Winning 1, losing 1. Winning 1 means your econ will not be great, and that's going to be the case here for Chuso. Unfortunately for him, barely hitting that 30 gold threshold. Going to hope for some gold here from the Krugs, and maybe you're going to have to sell off these Terrics as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a roller coaster, but there's a Deja in the background for Chuso, and that is just very, very nice. 2-7 has the Deja with a statics for now. Mirage, again, was what exactly, Panda?
Warlord's Honor.
Exactly. So Warlord's Ana gonna.
You had no faith. I was gonna remember that. You were asking and thinking, no chance.
I had all the faith. I trusted.
There was so much surprise in your voice when I answered it correctly.
The surprise was definitely not because I forgot what it was, but yes, Warlord's Ana coming in here for Chuzo, who is on that 6 Mirage trade. We are seeing the economy of the players, and I'm just always curious on where they are. Everybody is on level 5 right now. We can see huge win streak for Emperador, who we have been seeing, also 4 wins for Deisik right now, and then everybody else is kind of in the middle. And at the bottom, we have Odesza with that 5 loss streak. So currently, Spain just framing this lobby here, top and bottom, trying to get a grasp on the rest. Exactly.
The Deja fully itemized the Nunu as well with a Sunfire, 6 Mirage online. Everything, looking pretty good for Chuzo. Unfortunately for him, though, Gadget Expert and Static Shiv both used to be, a sign of win streaking. Both got nerfed in the last few patches. Gadget Expert went from 40% damage boost to 33, and Static Shiv also got the damage reduced, but it is still a 3-item Deja in the start of Stage 3, and looks like it will still be a win here against Balotelli.
Yeah, that is definitely a win. Nunu's gonna chomp one more down, and that will be it. But Aki now also going to the bottom of this lobby. 62 HP with another loss, is down there, trying to maybe find something, trying to maybe get that loss streak in a direction. Not sure. We will check him with him in just a little bit, but second augments are now coming in, and we have a rage ring board, and there is a Scourge as an option, but Electro does not go for it.
Second win instead, and I like this pick. I mean, you have a very beefy board. You have the extra health from Sejuani. You have a 2-star Skarner as well with Sunfire Cape. So all that extra effective HP is going to go that much further when you have kind of already a tanky board that can utilize it well. Jinx too, maybe not the most exciting power spike at this stage of the game, but it is still 2 Cannoneers. You do still have, some extra damage from that Jinx as well. And she did get buffed a bit, in the last few patches. She used to be a bit more of a laughingstock as a damage carry at the start of the set.
Yeah, she did get a minor buff, so that's good. She's now on par with the rest of the 2 cost units, and that should be very good here as we are seeing Electro face off against Aki. Aki also on a Nomsy angle, does have Cannoneers, is maybe looking for that Corki. We just saw a Corki board do really well in the past lobby, so maybe with Jade being also contested, players are now opting to go into a little bit of a Corki flex moment with that Nomsy and maybe a mage angle. Just so many directions you can take if you go that route, so I think that's probably why players are currently feeling very happy with that. But Aki's gonna find another loss.
And the immediate board strength from that second win coming in and helping out Electro get that win here and try and stabilize at this stage of Stage 3, which is what you really want to do when it comes to this stage. You want to stabilize, you want to try and get your comm together, at least your clear direction, and then in Stage 4 really hit what you need to hit to have a clear idea of what your late game board will end up looking like. Look at the augments here. Nothing too crazy. We do see an Earth pickup, so a Spatula is going to be open coming to the Carousel. We see the Stand United as well. That can be very good depending on the comp you're playing with Cannoneers and Corki. With Bard, etc., has always been one of the highlights for that Cannoneer comp. We'll have to see what exactly Emperador goes into for the Shimmer skill start he had in Stage 2. And we see him here again.
Yes, just no escape from that one. Let's check in with Chuzo, because he went for the Earth grab back, and to me that's always a... Are they looking to do something with it, or is it just a spatula to hold on to for when they find what they were looking for? Mm-hmm. So maybe after the next carousel, we will see where Chuzo is going with that spatula augment. Definitely something I'm interested in. But for now, the set will come in and smash that Jinx one more time. Will it be enough? She will find a stun, but he will find a punch, and that is it. Another loss for Electro.
One Punch Man doing it Game 1 and doing it in Game 2 as well. And all the gold that Mogul's Mill is printing as well. You have HP and you have gold. That is, 2 very good things going into stages 3 and 4. And I definitely see Emperador as one of the players that might end up top 4ing in this lobby. Corki picked up there. Definitely one of the hot items on this carousel. With the sword especially, and Odesza is the one to pick that up. So going to have a great transition into that Corki board for his Cannoneer comp.
So let's see where Chuzo goes. He could currently make a Dragon Mancer emblem, is now going with a Chain Vest, but didn't slam anything just yet with that spatula. So maybe now is the time. Of course, he's still on that gadget expert angle with the Deisik and the statics. Is going to make that beautiful Cavalier spat exactly what he was looking for, of course, with the board that we're on. And yeah, looking really good. We'll try that Yasuo as soon as possible.
5 players makes went to level 7 before this PvE round, so an early level 7 for all these players. The usual is to go to level 7 after the PvE round at the end of stage 3 and then roll down on stage 4-1 and try and stabilize. But 4 or 5 players rather trying to do so a bit early, trying to hit maybe some better natural shops, maybe going for things like Corki or one of the dragons as well, like Siphon.
Yeah, let's see what that Deisik can actually do against the Corki that has been found by Odesza. Now that you say it currently still on a Jade angle, but that Anima Visage will not hold true. The Deisik will come in one more ult, and that with it, she finds a win, and that propels Chuzo to being on fire with this 4-win streak right now.
And very healthy as well. Both Spanish players, Chuzo and Emperador, first and second, trying to emulate maybe what Turkey did in game 1. Odesza did not get the memo, apparently. He did not get the email, sitting now in 6th place, but has the Corki now, so is hoping to turn things around. And there's a Siphon. And there's a Shyvana.
There's also Shyvana on that board.
Which dragon would you like, Aki?
Aki just... with the dragon board
and Nico as well.
Summoned these dragons here. Has the Shyvana, has a Nico, is currently slotting stuff around to see where he wants to take this. Going for the 4 whispers for now, is going to sell off the Shyvana that he found and will go into that whispers angle with the Namzi. I think this makes sense, but I would have really liked to see the Shyvana once more.
That's a decision any player would want to have without even getting to stage 4. Nico and Shyvana, or do you want Sylas and Siphon? You have both pairs, some of the best front lines in the game right now, and ended up going for that Whispers angle instead. Had to dummies for some extra front line, maybe buying more time for Siphon to do his thing, dash around and chomp down and insta-kill a few of the opponent's carries, as we're seeing here. Siphon, can he do it by himself? Talent on the board as well, but I think Siphon is a little bit too much to handle this early into the game, and with that Titan Resolve already built as well. Look at all the players. They're hoping to enjoy the show here as Siphon, dances around the battlefield.
Somebody who's definitely not enjoying the show right now is Balotelli. He's down to 28 HP, 8 gold, 7 loss streak. This is a devastating trend that he is currently on. Only has that Shio U1, no Nico inside. This is really not what you wanted to do with this board. If you're Balotelli, still trying to find those upgrades, will wait until after the Wolves to see if he can maybe invest some of that extra gold and find something here to stabilize this board, but it is looking a little bit dire right now.
And Luden's Echo, maybe not the most, impactful augment to pick up and get that immediate board strength, depending on what comp you're going for. We'll see now this roll down is a roll down of desperation. Still on level 7, couldn't go 8th yet. Nico is big, Anivia as well, but without a Shio 2, I'm not sure if you can really stabilize all throughout this stage 4. I think with no gold to work with now, Mix.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's pretty devastating. It's actually going to pivot here. We'll put in that Siphon. We'll go for the Sylas. Has completely changed routes to try and grasp some corners here in this tournament. We'll slam these items as we go into the round, of course, with those tears and rots. Not exactly what you were looking for to either itemize that Siphon or the Shio, but maybe, just maybe, it will be enough to find a win against that Chuzo as the Siphon goes down. But Chuzo on that gadget expert with the Cavalier emblem. Such a strong comp in the making, but it looks like it will be enough. One more ult coming out of that Deja, but she's being debuffed by the Whispers. Maybe they can take her out.
The stun from Heimer, that's the second or third stun in this fight. Is Heimerdinger going to be the MVP of this fight? It's so close, Heimerdinger. I'm so sorry. You couldn't do it. He tried his best, but not quite enough, and it does make sense after all. A 1 cost. against a big
It was
dragon.
the best loss he could get right now, though.
That is true.
So if this is a loss streak that he wanted, then that was the best one. However, with 8 losses down, he probably would really like some wins by now. So does found a mage cap here with the augments, so at least can go for the 3 mages, has it on Soraka right now, will allow her to scale up a little bit, at least provide some healing, not only for the board, but also for Balotelli. But he really needs something across the board. There's just singular copies of all of the units he has right now. Is not happy with the items he found in these PvE rounds, and just no gold to work with. He's
if this was a Silas 2,
find the win.
A Siphon 2, maybe you could do it with Soraka as kind of like your support in League of Legends, just healing the Siphon as he runs around and kills people. But again, this is a Siphon 1. I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to withstand some of the damage that will be coming his way. At this point in stage 4, where players are trying to fully itemize their damage carries, like we're seeing here, Tristana onto this Siphon. And can this BT do enough to help him sustain, to help him get that healing from the... No, the answer is no. I'm hyping it up, but
no.
There's nothing to hype up here. The board is just a little bit too weak for this point in stage 4, and Balotelli does not have the HP to work with to get the upgrades he needs.
Maybe. So this Soraka with the mage cap, of course, provides just so much additional healing. She is powered up right now, so maybe he can at least take out the Tristana in the background. That will be enough, but the Soraka will go down here. Of course, he did get that additional healing from the Soraka, so at least his little legend did get some healing here. Finds a Siphon in the story. This is an upgrade on the Nanzi and the Tristana, but will that be enough? We see the augments come in. You can see just by the augments that 2 players at least are on that quirky angle. Deisik and Electro both with the extra, I think it's hot shot, right? So just getting that extra cannoneer damage in on these boards here, as Balotelli is switching units around, trying to position in a way where this Siphon can actually take anything down. It's 1 copy Silas, 1 copy on that Siphon is going to get hit by the Shroud of Stillness, and in comes the Dragon's Descent by the Shyvana. Is going to breathe on the entire backline. That Soraka will try to survive. The healing will come in, but will that be enough to keep the Siphon on his toes? It will not. The breath comes in once more, and that will be a huge loss.
It'd be a big loss. Oh no, this might be it for Balotelli. 16 HP. The healing from Soraka is just enough, and that comes from the extra healing he got in the last 2 fights from that Soraka. But 3 HP is not a good place to be. You need to get that upgrade on Siphon. Maybe on the natural shop after this carousel, he's able to do so.
I mean, that is devastating for him. He is on 3 HP. Aki also down there, 13 HP. And then there's a big gap to the rest of the players. Electro, 36. Odesza, 51. Like, these players have so much more health to work with, so much more cushion to fall back onto. Balotelli and Aki are really looking to just survive here.
Silver lining, Balotelli did get a 3rd in game 1, so had a good start. At the very least, has maybe a stand in the standings. He has a cushion when it comes to points, and can bounce back if he was to get maybe an 8th or 7th in this game and still do well throughout the rest of this day 1. Silas upgrade that is found at the very least, so there's something here that you can work with for Aki.
Yeah, Aki has that rise too, with at least a rod and also the double Zeke's buff in the background that should provide some additional damage until that Siphon can do something. But also only on that Siphon too, both Balotelli and Aki looking for upgrades to this dragon as they face off against other players. We can see Balotelli against Deisik once more, an Idas board in the way of this Siphon, and the wall will be there provided by a Nico, who is just going to have so much HP, so much defensives to work with, and that will probably be the end for Balotelli. We can see Emperador against Electro here. Their Siphon 2 is just providing the damage and will take out the enemy here. Or not, actually, Yasuo.
The Yasuo execute comes in.
Dies of Yasuo. But Balotelli managing to survive.
Just 5 HP though, slowly getting that HP up by 2 every single fight thanks to that Soraka. We'll see if he'll be able to survive. Again, I don't think it's realistic to get a top 4 unless he gets that Siphon 2-star, which he only needed for the upgrade. But maybe he can get a 7th, a 6th, just some amount of points extra in this game 2 to still have a good point to go into the game 3 and still have a chance to make it to day 2.
Yeah, we will have one more round before the Treasure Drake, something Balotelli is probably looking forward to, but still no gold to work with as he faces off against Electro. We just saw this board in action. It is the Siphon 2 with the Corki supporting the backline. Notably, that Corki is only Corki 1, but it's going to be enough to take out the front line. The Siphon is just rampaging onto that Soraka, but on the other side of the board, the same thing is happening. Maybe she can provide one more heal to this board. She cannot, and the Siphon is just getting taken out here. Damage comes in, and I'm not sure there is anything they can do to take out the Siphon 2. The Heimerdinger with the stuns just coming in, trying to support.
Not quite.
That won't do it. Balotelli will find another loss here, and that will be the 8th place of round 2.
What a fight. Right away, that Siphon 2 jumps to Siphon 1, takes it down to 5% HP. The Siphon runs away and stays alive, but then again, the second chomp, he could not survive, and that will be it for Balotelli in this game. 3rd place in game 1, 8th place in game 2. Not quite a top 4 average, but, you know, somewhat close. At the very least, it wasn't 2 8s in a row, and he still has a chance to make it into day 2 with 4 more good performances in the rest of the games today. But Aki now in a similar position, has that Siphon, has that Silas, has the Cannoneers, has Shioyu 2 in the shop if he wants to do a quick pivot.
Probably doesn't want to do a quick pivot, is looking for the Siphon. The last copy still missing. Gold being put in here. Would also like to keep the doubles of the units he has on the board right now to find those upgrades. So we'll try and hope to survive here as he goes into the next round. He has lost the previous game, so wherever he goes, he will need to find a win, and the perspectives of that are a little bit scary. We see Shuzo with a 10 win streak here right now. That is the Deja with the Ascension, with the Gadget Expert, just being buffed up so much. Not even the Yasuo being found here.
Playing it slow. Same as Darkest last game.
Gion. It's just such a good board, still with a lot of room to grow even. But let's see if Aki can survive. He's going to meet Emperador here, who has that Jade board with the Shioyu, and it will be the question of whether or not that Siphon can take out the backline while the rest of the team deals with the Shioyu, or if she's going to slam him down face first.
Unfortunately, no Nico yet for Emperador, so only the Gnar is really the main front line, which may be a bit of a disservice coming to this fight. Siphon onto Shioyu, but then does a quick pivot backwards, not able to kill Shioyu, does shrink her down a little bit. Shioyu doing her thing onto the dummy, but now Siphon finally comes back with a rises back up, and that will take down the Shioyu. Aki stays alive. Emperador has to find this Nico to try and continue capping out his Jade board.
That was really impressive. The Rise support coming in, even though that Siphon just turned around and went the other way. It was really, really good to see him find that win here. Is not going to be able to take a huge turn from this, but will find that upgrade on the Nomzi. So that should give him a little bit of extra board strength in the backline together with that Rise. Again, the double Zeke's just so good on that Nomzi. And maybe the Silas and the additional little towers can help to provide that just phony front line for Aki as he meets with Shuzo.
Facing off against the strongest player in this lobby, but a player that has not tried strengthening his board even further throughout this stage at the end of stage 4, so might not be as strong as he actually seems with his current HP. But Siphon 1, we'll see if it'll be enough to take down Shuzo in the process. It looks like it's going to be the case here. Deja's still alive, though.
The Siphon!
The Heimer, the stun.
Deja
is it enough?
Class. In time, one more ult, and that will be it. Aki finds another win here.
I'm telling you, Makes, Heimerdinger is the star of the show for all these Cannoneers comps in this game. I cannot tell you the amount of times he's gotten the clutch stun in all these fights.
I know you're a huge fan of that Heimerdinger, so I'll let you fly with it, okay? Oh, we are over on Odesza's board. Also on 12 HP, has only found an Idas 1. Not a huge front line, but has the upgrade in the shop. Is just hoping that he can survive this round from what it looks like. Store
That's
is
a lot of copium. I'm not so sure. 12 HP.
going up against the board of Shuzo, this is definitely a scary perspective. It is the copy of it though, because Balotelli has been knocked out, so the ghost copy maybe just being a little bit weaker for Odesza, but we're back with Aki and Electro, and it's the battle of siphons continuing here in the background. The siphon taking out the Corki, a huge point for Aki, and it will be enough to just secure another win. Odesza notably also finding one.
Aki slant into 5 mages with Rise as a backup carry without any item, just the AP scaling that happens naturally throughout the fight, actually working out really, really well for him in this stage 5, staying alive without getting the upgrades he really needs actually with that siphon. So big props to Aki. We'll see if he can actually try and go for a top 4 despite being at 2 HP all throughout the stage 5.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, if he can do that, I'll be so impressed with him. He's still looking for that last siphon to find that 2-star siphon. It's such a huge upgrade that he would really, really like to have. But as siphon is being picked up by multiple players in this lobby and his economy is really very much down in the gutters, it will be hard to do. Odesza, of course, with that locked store finds that Odesza too, and Aki now also able to find that siphon too. Again, that's what he was looking for, that's what he needed. Does have another Warmox on the silence thanks to the carousel, so hopefully can continue that win streak that he's currently on.
Max, is it me or are there like 6 Cannoneer players? I believe Deisik is on Cannoneers. I mean, it seems like every single player is on Cannoneers. But they're not hitting the siphon somehow, but they all have 2-star. I'm not sure how that's working.
We've seen a lot of quirky Idas, actually, also in the last Golden Spatula Cup, because of how competed siphon usually is. And quirky is still a very good unit, but in comes a Shyvana from Gluteus, a player we haven't been keeping up too much with, just because he's been doing so good throughout this round, looking very healthy on that HP. But Aki once more finds a win here. That's the wildest turnaround I've seen in quite a little while. Electro and Emperador now both down with single-digit HP. They need to find upgrades. They need to fight to get into those top 4.
I'm going to stop talking about Siphon and the Dragons. Heimerdinger and Rise are the 2 stars of this game for me. They've been popping off in every fight we've actually seen from Aki. Emperador trying his best here, still only has that Nico. One did find the Nico at the very least, but hasn't found the upgrade. Has a Dragonmancer emblem though, able get it onto the Soraka. The Ashe is now bigger than she's been in a while, considering her state in this set 7.
Yes, she is bigger right now. I'm sorry, chat is just doing me a disservice right now. I'm so disappointed with you guys. But maybe at some point somebody's going to figure out the answer to the Zach question. I'll just let you chat. And let's see what this Ashe can do. The Corki on the other side is definitely powering up right now, but the Shioyu just provides such a good wall to let that Ashe do something. Not enough. Emperador getting kicked out here, 7th, and Aki still fighting for his life here against Odesza.
And finally has that Siphon too, so now stronger than ever. Doesn't need Rise and Heimerdinger to pick up all the slack. Odesza down to 1 HP despite his Idas 2 upgrade. He got a few fights to go. What a game. We've had players, again, these Polish players. Zbroysin in the last game also surviving for so long on so little HP. Aki now doing the same thing here in game 2. Chalice comes in. You can get even more damage onto this Rise and onto this Namzi if you're able to, again, continue these aura stacks onto Lulu in that back row.
Yeah, and we will be finding some upgrades here with the Treasure Goblin coming in, and finally somebody finds the right answer in chat. That was a long ride for the fact that I always cry about how much I love Samira and I want her back. So next time, guys, better take notes as we go into what could be Aki's last round, and I feel like I keep saying that. Odesza also down to that 1 HP. Both of them will be trying to get out of here. Electro still on the 7 HP. They're all trying to get that spot in the top 4.
Odesza has a Zephyr on the Thresh. We'll see what kind of positioning he can actually pick in this last, or what could be this last fight for him. And if the Zephyr is good enough, if he's able to get one of these siphons in the air and stop some of that damage from coming in the first few seconds of the fight, that could be massive for the outcome of this do or die moment for Odesza. Aki also 2 HP, Electro at 7, so all 3 players are in trouble. Idis actually the one that gets thrown up into the air on the side of Odesza, and that might be a bit of trouble when he is your solo tank.
Yeah, exactly. So a really good Zephyr here coming in, taking out that Idas for just a little while, but Idas coming back down, providing once more a barrier for the rest of the team to just keep on firing up. And the missiles from Corki, they just keep flying. Sona assisting here with that Shojin Rageblade build, and Odesza is able to find a win. However, Aki and Electro being taken out here. We're down to our top 4.
Same story for Aki as Broyson. Hung on for so long, gave us hope, and then ended up in 6th as well. Electro in 5th. Couldn't kind of continue that Turkish dominance coming into this game too. And it will be now Chuso and Odesza from Spain, Gluteus Maximus from Germany. Our biases clearly are working out. And Deisik, he needs no biases because he is the king of set 7 in EMEA when it comes to the ladder. Still win streaking and now at 54 HP. But Chuso has now found this Yasuo. He has been able to ramp up to level 9. He has that HP to work with to do so. And we'll see if his board is capped out high enough with the Deja as a carry.
Yeah, Zephyr coming in on the other side this time around, only hitting the Leona. Definitely a target that you wouldn't want to have targeted with that Bartold. Just so big coming in here from both sides. Everybody's getting stunned, CC'd as the Deja ramps up. That Rageblade just keeps getting more and more stacks. Statics also providing additional damage, and I don't think the Corki can take out the Deja here. It will be a win for Chuso and the end for Odesza.
Odesza ends up top 4, though, not the end of the world. And we saw most of those Spanish players were in like the middle of the pack, so that's going to continue that. And again, all you need today is to stay among the top 16. You make it to day 2. So you don't need to get first. You don't need to get top 5. You don't need to get top 8. It's only the top 16 that make it, which means that if you're able to get around the top 4 every single game, you're going to be in a good spot to advance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the overall, it's always make top 4, right? And we kind of have to talk about it once more. We mentioned it when he picked it up. That metabolic accelerator for Gluteus is just doing him so much of a service, just helping him throughout all of those rounds, getting it in there. But in comes also finally being hit that Cavalier emblem Yasuo, and it's just doing so much. One more time, it's gonna slice and dice, knock up a lot here before it gets taken out by that enemy Xiaoyu. And now it's down to Deja against Xiaoyu in the backline there. A little bit of support from both sides still coming in, notably that healing from the Soraka before she finally gets taken out, and the Deja will try it one more time, finds that win, takes out Gluteus, and it's down to our top 2, Deisik and Chuso.
Not surprised that was the outcome of the fight. The Shroud missed. It was on the wrong side. Deja and Yasuo were not hit, and the Zephyr also just hit a no-item Leona on that front line. So all in all, didn't really hit the best units you would have liked to with those situational items, and that maybe turned that fight in the favor of his opponent. Gluteus knocked out in 3rd. And now the final battle between Deisik and Chuso. Mirage for Chuso and Cannoneers with Idas.
Battle.
Well, the final battles.
A lot of hell.
The final war.
The final fight trend is what's going on. So Deisik is on that 9-win streak, notably. Does have the Pike in there, does have the Talon in there with the Cannoneers emblem. So a little bit of an assassin edge going on. On the other side, a very traditional Mirage board with the Deja, of course, being supported by that Statics. And let's see if maybe, just maybe, Chuso can find a win here and upturn the trend that has been going on for Deisik. We will try and follow up with what's going on. Talon is on to that Deja in the backline, doing her a little bit of a stabby stab in the sidelines, but she will be able to fire even more before the Yasuo finally comes in, and Pike is gonna chomp him out. Will find a win for Deisik. 10 wins now on the board. Is there anything that Chuso can do to get a win here, to find an angle, Panda?
It seems the Idas is just too tanky. Deja is ramping up that damage, but Idas seems to be untouched in that front line, and that's what Corki wants, really. All he needs is a unit or, a grouping of units in the front that can take a lot of damage and allow him to just do his thing in the back without really being touched. Also, the Talon is not really helping. Deja wants to be in that back row, wants to be, again, like Corki, untouched, and that's not going to be the case when you have an assassin jumping at you at the very start of the fight. We'll see how the positioning looks like. It's going to be Talon right onto that Deja once again. Pike on the opposite side. Corki again, untouched in that corner and just dealing damage to the entirety of the opponent's comp.
Yeah, that was both of the assassins right onto that Deisik, but there is still a Deisik on the board, and she's fighting for her life, trying to take out the enemy Idas together with the Yasuo, and down they go, but Yasuo will ult, finds a win, and Chuzo actually turns it around, finds a win here as we go into the treasure crab in this round here. There is aesthetics on the side of Chuzo, which is probably one of the best things he could have wished for with that gadget expert, just getting him a little bit of extra damage. That we have a Shojin on the side of Deisik.
And Deisik still has a lot of gold to work with. That's the biggest difference here. 7 gold for Chuzo. No chance really of getting any more upgrades. Whereas Deisik still has a chance to continue furthering the strength of this board going into these last few fights, going into the stage 7, where again, damage will be increased for any unit that survives. And it's that much harder. If you take a big loss, if for some reason there's a big discrepancy in the amount of units that are left alive, you might just be knocked out.
Yeah, and we can see Deisik is now rolling down, trying to find those upgrades here. Is looking for an upgrade on that Bard, is looking for that Corki
Shyvana
too.
2's big.
Also finds that Shyvana 2
switch.
Is going to switch her out, did have the Nico from before, definitely something he wanted here, and will slam those items when it comes to it. On the other side, we have Chuzo, who would have liked to find a little bit of an upgrade on that Yasuo or the Nunu, did not find it with the gold that was available, and let's see how it goes. Both of the assassins from Deisik are on to that Deisik. Of course, the Pike will jump away, and the Talon will also follow. Maybe, just maybe, it's enough for the Deisik to find more damage onto the Shyvana. Shyvana still alive in the middle of the pack, will walk towards that Deisik, and Corki in the backline is just still ramping, doing him a disservice. That Bard ult, and Chuzo is down to 3%, 3 HP.
Also 3% though. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's
you're
3%
technically right.
of 100. Technically, that was the correct term. But
bit weird, but technically
right. Also correct for the carousel, and I thought, but we'll leave that for another game.
Down to 3 HP now. Any loss will be it for Chuzo. Still can be very happy with the top 2, as we mentioned before. Only need to be among the top 16 to make it to day 2. So a second place is a very good place to be in this game 2. Furthering, going to the rest of this day 1 with 4 games left after this. We'll see if the fight ends up being the same here with Deisik almost getting the kill, but not quite doing so. Or if Corki now with Pike onto this Corki right away, the extra damage with maybe a few Deisik ults might be able to kill off the Corki earlier than before. It looks like it's not going to be the case. Corki's still healing up, staying alive here.
The hunt is just helping that Corki survive for so much here. And I don't think that there's anything the Shyvana can do. But no, Chuzo goes down in the final end. The Corki finished it all, and Deisik wins round 2 of this day.
And Deisik, again, good start for him. Not surprised. We talked about it before. I think he was maybe